Well, hi everybody and welcome back to Apple Cottage. This is Sandy and I am Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming. Well, it's Monday morning, so we're baking a cake today in our series. We're starting out with a Double Foods cake mix, and we are going to make what I call a grasshopper cake. But not a grasshopper like this one. Now, to make our base cake, we'll need the Devil's Food cake mix, 1.5 cups of water, 1/2 cup of oil, and 3 eggs. Now, I always say farm fresh eggs, but my daughter reminded me not everybody can get farm fresh eggs. So just 3 eggs. To make it into a grasshopper cake, we're using what's called Creme de Menthe. It's a liqueur. And we're going to use that a little bit in our cake. We're going to use a little bit in our frosting. We're also going to have a Fudge Mint Cookie crumble in between the layers. And we're going to have dark chocolate mint and Andies mints. Let's get started. We're going to first put our liquid ingredients in. 3 eggs, 1/2 cup of oil. Now remember, any kind of oil, vegetable oil, grapeseed oil, anything like that. And 1.5 cups of water. I always like to incorporate my eggs before I add any of the cake mix. We've incorporated those eggs with the oil and the water, so let's add some cake mix. I turn my oven on at 350 degrees. I'm going to start the beater, and we're going to slowly add the chocolate cake mix. As you can see, it's all well incorporated. I never like to beat the cake mix very long, but I am going to add 1 tablespoon of Creme de Menthe. Some people might add a mint, peppermint, or just a regular mint extract, but I find the flavor is better using the Creme de Menthe. I poured all the cake mix into 2 different 9-inch pans. Whenever I want to be able to get the cake very easily out of the pan, I oil or spray oil it and flour it. So these are going in the oven, 350 degrees for 25 minutes. It's been 25 minutes and I took the cakes out. I always like to do the toothpick test. Perfect. I'll let those cool for about 10 minutes before I take them out. They are popped out of the pan. I'm just going to let them finish cooling and we're going to make some frosting. To make our frosting, we're going to have 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1/2 cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of butter, and 1 tablespoon of Creme de Menthe. We're going to cream everything together. I ended up only using half of the milk because I always like to add half the milk first and then mix it up. And I didn't need to add the other milk. I put the first layer of cake upside down, and so the flat surface was right here. And we're going to start by just putting a thin layer of the frosting on. And you can see how the Creme de Menthe made a very soft, light green. Now I only want a thin layer here because we're actually going to add the Fudge Mint Cookies that I pounded up. So I'm going to grab that bag, and I just used my meat pounder. And this will be nice because it'll give it kind of a crunch in that center before we put the other layer on and frost the rest of the cake. Now, depending on how much frosting you want, this is the kind of cake that wouldn't necessarily have to be frosted on the sides. Okay, so that's a fun layer. I do have a few extra in case I decide to put some on top. So then we're going to take our other layer and lay it on top. And we're going to frost the top. You can smell the Creme de Menthe, which is a mint flavor of a liqueur. There's a famous drink that's called a grasshopper, and it's ice cream and creme de menthe and I don't know what else. Now at this point, if this is all the frosting you wanted to put on, that would be perfectly fine. But I'm going to put a little bit more. And I have enough for the sides. Now I'm not going to put a thick layer. You're going to see parts of the cake showing through. I kind of like that look. It's kind of a new look for cakes. And they put the frosting on and they scrape part of it off. And so you're getting that nice flavor without all that frosting. And it looks really kind of funky. And I like that. Miss Molly Cakes, the YouTube channel that I talk about sometimes when I'm making cakes. Miss Molly, she does that on some of her cakes and has variegated colors, and it's just marvelous. So I'm just going to finish frosting this. So here we have all the frosting on, but now let's add the fun stuff. First, let's sprinkle a few crumbles on the top. Not too many, just a few. Let's add some dark chocolate mints first. And so I'm just going to break those. Now see how gooey they are? That part is going to go into the frosting. It's like mountains on your cake. Then we have some just little Andies cakes, or Andies Candies. And those ones, I'm just gonna place different places on the cake. We can break some of these up, and you can put as many or as few of them. It depends on how much chocolate you want. But you want to make sure that when you spread it around, with every slice, somebody's going to get a piece of chocolate mint candy. And the Andies mints are nice because they don't goo out, but they both have just scrumptious flavor. So let's get a knife and cut Joe a slice. Well, here we go. A slice of cake for Joe. You always want to make sure every slice has some of that candy. And there we go. As always, like, subscribe, share with the world. We have one more week of making cakes, spectacular cakes, from a box. So next week is a total surprise. I'm not giving it away. See you next time.